Top 5 Failed Megaprojects. In the mid-26th century BCE, the Egyptian pharaoh Khufu burned through a great deal of his kingly wealth erecting the Great Pyramid at Giza, which by one estimate would cost $5 billion to duplicate today. Even with modern construction technology, the world has seen plenty of other ambitious construction projects turn into money pits for their builders, from airports and stadiums to tunnels and water dams. Three Gorges Dam. North Korea, which has long been ruled by a totalitarian regime with a paranoid hostility toward outsiders, seems like the least likely place on Earth to build a luxury tourist resort. Then dictator Kim Il-sung broke ground for exactly such a project, the 105-story Ryungyong Hotel, apparently in an effort to top bitter rival South Korea's triumphant hosting of the 1988 Summer Olympics. Construction of the three-winged glass and concrete triangular tower stalled in the early 1990s with the collapse of North Korea's major economic patron, the Soviet Union, and the $750 million structure has languished in unfinished condition ever since, outlasting the reigns of both Kim Il-sung and his son, Kim Jong-il. The Mosi Project. Flooding in Venice has been a problem for centuries, and in order to prevent the venerable Italian city from sinking deeper into the lagoon on which it was founded, along came the Mosi Project. It was first announced in 1988 by Italian Deputy Prime Minister Gianni De Michelis after years of political battles. The deadline is still 1995, he assured everyone at the time, with the ominous caveat, of course, it might have to be put back a bit. That was an understatement nearly as massive as the project itself, which involves putting 78 hinged metal gates, each weighing up to 300 tons, 272 metric tons, and rising 66 feet, 20 meters, in height in channels of the Venice Lagoon, Montreal Mirabel Airport. Legendary Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí dreamed of building a fantastic cathedral in downtown Barcelona. The Sagrada Familia began construction in 1883, but was only 15% completed when Gaudí was struck and killed by a streetcar in 1926. The work on his masterpiece was subsequently disrupted by the Spanish Civil War, in which shelling destroyed the room containing his notes and designs. Eventually, in 1952, the project was restarted, sources, Gladstone, but it's proceeded at a glacial pace ever since due to its mind-numbing complexity and inconsistent funding. The cathedral has become a popular tourist attraction, generating $40 million, 30 million euros, in ticket sales in 2011. The International Space Station, perhaps as close as one gets to a literal white elephant. This white, domed behemoth, built to house a celebration for the new millennium, became an embarrassing eyesore for many Londoners. The dome was controversial from its inception in the mid-1990s. Costs rose throughout the planning and construction phases, with the British government regularly dispersing more money than planned to the builders. In the end, it cost $1.1 billion, 789 million pounds, versus a budget of 758 million pounds, with ticket sales only 189 million pounds, $320 million, versus a forecast of 359 million and yearly maintenance costs of $41.3 million, 28.4 million pounds. The Millennium Dome was an expensive fiasco, but all was not lost. In 2007, the dome was renamed the O2 Arena after being sold to A, and a 20,000-seat concert arena was added at an additional cost of 600 million pounds. Panama Canal expansion. When the U.S. built the Panama Canal in the early 1900s, workers overcame daunting obstacles, from mudslides to malaria, to complete what was heralded as one of the world's engineering marvels. A century later, an ambitious upgrade of the canal, aimed at allowing it to serve more massive vessels and double the cargo moved in and out of the Western Hemisphere, is mired in man-made complications. In early 2014, a dispute between the Panama Canal Authority and a consortium of European construction firms over who would cover a $1.16 billion cost overrun caused the work to grind to a halt for 2 weeks. In 2016, the canal finally opened, with a construction cost of $5.3 billion. Ironically, the $1 billion overrun brought the cost in line with the original bid made by rival Bechtel for the construction job in the first place.